This is Ruben Obed here, sitting in front of my solar system. All right, and those are my cats running around. I'm doing this whole tour because I wanted, to show you guys how I did my solar system and how we do the whole off-grid living in an urban setting. As you can see there, this is a system that I built on my own, and after Hurricane Maria, we started this project, and it started off with those little panels right there. They were about $38 a piece at the time, and that was the only thing that I could get with free shipping. So I ended up buying 19 of those black ones, the 30-watt panels, and it added up to about 570 watts. So probably wasn't the most practical thing. I mean, but it worked out. It worked out. So we ran all those 30-watt panels in parallel to give us 570 watts, and then we kept adding and adding. So I mean, right now, what you're looking at here is about a two kilowatt system. You know, about 2 kilowatt system. If I were to add all of the panels together. Now, what happens is that there are actually about three systems going on here. For example, this big panel right there, right? And that big panel over there is part of my bedroom system. Now, these other ones right here, these two monocrystalline and these other ones, now these form part of the house battery bank, and with the exception of one of the panels here, like the second one I believe it is, that one's actually running to the bathroom system, you know, and you'll see that later on. But basically, so far, just on panels alone, right? If I were to add it all up, we're talking maybe about 2 grand, a little over 2 grand in panels. Now, what I've said, I am factoring in the cost of some of the shipping. You know, the cat's not included as part of the system. Ain't he cute? Ain't he a cute little guy? But anyway, this is a two quick kilowatt system, all in all, and this is what I run my entire house on. And like I said, this is all DIY. This wasn't built by a company or anything. Okay, so come here. You want to say hello to the camera? He's a cutie. He's so little. I'm surprised how he be coming up here. Say hello. Anyway, so let's take you guys over here. All right, so let me just stand up here. All right, now, like I said, these big ones right here, these big ones, these are 240 watt panels a piece. I have two of those. Those were like, I think the last ones I bought, and those run my bedroom system. Now, if you notice right here, like in the back, all right, this is how I have set up these panels. These panels don't have a racking system, and they don't have a racking system because this is DIY, and this was the easiest way that I could set all of this up. Okay, now they are very well fastened, they're, so they ain't gonna go nowhere. I have them tied with aluminum with steel cables, so they're sturdy. They ain't going nowhere. um they are in parallel. They are in parallel, and I didn't do any series connections here. Okay, and it's worked flawlessly. Okay, no overheating wires or nothing. All right, if you come over here, this is basically kind of like a distribution box that I made. Okay, so this, it was just an old phone thing But that basically all it has inside is like two bus bars where I connected most of the panels. So, and I use a lot of extension cords, because cabling is expensive, and I noticed that the cables that you find online, a lot of them really suck. So if we look here, this is regular extension cord. I think it's like 16 gauge. These, you see these cables, these extension cords right here. These are regular like Christmas tree style extension cords. I believe they're like 10 gauge or 12 gauge. Um, Let me tell you, man, you can find that kind of extension cord anywhere, and the actual copper on it is extremely good. You know, I haven't had any problems with like the dry rotting that I have with the other cables that I've ordered online. So, in my opinion, if you're gonna go this really DIY route, use these cables. You could probably double them up if you're running a higher amperage. But so far, the sun came out. So that's what my system is looking like from the back, right? So that's my solar system. Okay, so far, like I said, on this system alone, if I were to calculate what I've spent on panels and cabling, we're looking at approximately a little over 2 grand. Okay, a little over 2 grand. Reason being, each of these were 38 bucks a piece with free shipping. These little 30-watt panels. These were about 130 a piece with the shipping. These are 100-watt panels. You know, so if you want to add that up, okay, all of these are pretty much the same price, about 130. It fluctuates. These I actually got locally. So these 240-watt panels, actually I got both of them, this big one and the one all the way in the end, for 100 bucks each. So I made out like a bandit with that. Now, these right here were about 30 a piece because they no longer made the 30-watt panel, the company that I used to purchase from. So I had to buy the 20-watt ones, which were about 30 bucks a piece. And the whole idea, I wanted to make another line of 20-watt panels all around right here. But, things changed, and now there wasn't no shipping to Puerto Rico, and so I actually got everything at a really good timing. Now, kind of deviating a little bit from the whole solar thing. I don't know if you've noticed right here. Okay, this part of the roof right there, that's basically the water spout from the roof. If we look over here, it rained last night, and there's a water spout, there too. And the houses here mainly, like you see the neighbor's house, they have like a little water spout because the roofs here are flat. So when it rains, a lot of the water accumulates. You know. All right. So what happens is, I don't know if you can see it too well. Let me. Okay, if you look right over there, what I did on the water spout, I put a faucet. I put one there, and I put one right over here with a hose. The hoses carry this water, everything that accumulates on the roof, and it carries it to the yard, to my water tanks. Okay, so let's just take a little walk over there so you guys can see the whole thing. All right. Also, when it rains over here, especially this area, it puddles up substantially. You might think that, that's dirty, but I'll get to that. All right. So before I go down, here's another idea concept. I took this trash can. This trash can basically is just a water heater. I painted it black, so it's nice and shiny. And if you take this off, and if you look, there's water, right? Now this is basically the filtered water that I process and everything. And that has another hose that goes straight down into the bathroom. All right, it goes into the shower. I can't really show it from here, so let's just go downstairs, and I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys that. Give me a second. Let me try to walk down the steps and not fall and bust my ass. All right. We're coming main. Now the main water tank. The water when it rains, it comes down through there, and it comes through here. Me, I hate them. All right. I have some filter there, and this is just to pick up any kind of sediment and leaves and stuff. Now, once you look inside, you notice I have UV lamps purifying the water that comes from the roof. In the bottom, you see a little bit of sediment, which I vacuum out occasionally, maybe like once every week or so, or 2 weeks. Let me see if I can put this in there. There's actually two lamps. I don't know how well you can see. Let me see if I can lift this up so you can see the other one. All right, the other one, there it is. All right, there's. Now, what those UV lamps, those are pond lamps or aquarium lamps. And what they do is I leave them on, and they basically disinfect. They disinfect the water. You know, they kill out any bacteria, any algae. Okay. Now, is that water drinkable after that? Not really. You know, that's just the first step. Okay. After it goes through that step, it runs through this spin down filter. Okay, and the spin down filter basically takes out more sediment. You could flush it through here, through the nozzle. I usually just unscrew this and take out the filter. It's like this is a reusable filter. And, you know, I clean that out, you know, and I put it back in. And it goes through all that. Okay, so it comes through the roof. It runs pantyhose filter, goes in there, gets disinfected to a certain degree with the UV lamps, goes through the spin down filter, and it comes up this hose. All right. Now, when it comes up this hose, it goes into the water pump. The water pump has another mesh filter, and then it runs through the first sediment filter. Okay. Then it runs through the second filter. That stain right there is just a little bit of rust, okay, from the tubing. And this has carbon, activated charcoal. So it runs through this filter. So we have all those stages of filtration, then it runs through here, then it runs through here. And that water gets chlorinated, okay? Water gets chlorinated. So, you know, that water is disinfected. And once it comes in through the charcoal filter, the chlorine gets eliminated. So the chlorine gets eliminated. And I ran a hose all through here, and it goes through this third filter, okay, which is another hard block charcoal filter, and this water back feeds into the house. Okay, it back feeds into the house. Now, what goes on here is this is the tank. Remember I showed you on the roof? This is the tank that receives the water from the spouts that I put on the roof, what I showed you earlier. Okay, so, and that's just another filter right there, but that just filters out the hose line, so it needs to be changed. It has rust. So right now, the water level on this is all the way up to here. These are the two hoses that come from the roof, and this line right here connects to that blue cistern over there. So as that one is getting used up, this water level comes down equally. So, you know, basically I don't have to do anything. This water will fall down through there, fills that up. Any excess water drains into here. This water receives water from the roof, and as you can see, it's very clean. I chlorinate this water as well. I actually chlorinate both tanks. Okay, so if you open it up, you look in there, the water's nice and clean. Has some sediment at the bottom, which but overall the water's clean. Okay, and that sediment at the bottom, I have this little vacuum thing I invented. All right, so that's being said, that's the water system. So this pump back feeds the water into the house, and it has like really good water pressure. Let me show you. Let me just give you an example. All right, you open up here. Okay, here's the hose. All right, you see that water pressure from the little pump. All right. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, I close this. Let me get rid of that remaining water in the line. All right. All right, hold on. Okay, so basically, that's kind of showing you what that system is looking like. Now let's head inside. Let's head inside the house. Okay, these are my little generators. So when it rains and if I don't get a good amount of sun, I'll probably pull one of these out, turn it on, and I plug it in to this cable that I have hanging here, and basically to my that's connected to my main system, to my main battery charger. So, you know, that's only in the case if it rains, we get really cloudy days and whatnot. Okay, so when you come into the bathroom, all right, I have a separate system here. This is a 750 watt inverter. I got this light on here, and basically it runs off of this battery. Okay, these are some spotlights that are in my backyard, which are off at night. I turn them on, and the water pump runs off of this. And one of the solar panels that is on the roof charges this battery. So if you can see, disconnect this. All right, right now that battery is at 13.4, and it's receiving a charge right there. Okay, so by midday that should be at 14.5, 14.6. Okay, let me put the little light back on. It's a little light bulb that I like using. I picked these up on eBay for $1, and they're wonderful LED lights. Okay, so what does this do? Well, if we go over here, same water pressure that I showed you from the hose, same water pressure in the house. Okay, same thing in the shower. You know, so the entire house has pressurized water running through the entire house. It's filtered, it's clean, disinfected. But that one in particular is not used for drinking purpose. I'm going to show you now really quickly. Give me a second here. My wife is doing something. I don't want to bother her. All right. Let me just show you this real quickly. For drinking purposes, that water that comes from the cistern, for drinking purposes, it goes through our reverse osmosis system. Okay, so the water from the tap from outside, right there, it gets filtered once again, but this one's for drinking purposes. And on top of the fact that it runs through the osmosis filter, all right, then I run it through these DIY Berkey filters that I built. So that's another ceramic filter there. And that is the drinking water that we use for cooking and for whatnot. So the water that comes straight off of the system, without reverse osmosis, we can use for everything else. All right, but we don't drink that. We use it for bathing and stuff, and it's totally clean. I mean, it is drinkable, but we take it another step further. So this is the main battery bank. All right, as you can see right now, the main battery bank consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 deep cycle batteries. This is a separate battery, which is in its own. It has its own inverter. This is a separate little system, and this one is charged with a 100 watt panel, one of the ones that's on the roof. So, of all those panels, each of them are allocated to separate things. But that's the main system, and those are the charge controllers that charge this main system. Why so many? Because I've maxed out all of them. So once I have enough solar panels that it can't handle one, I bought another charge controller, and all those charge controllers, they talk to each other and they charge this battery bank so it won't overcharge. And we have here the MT50 monitors, which tell us what our state of charge is, etc. Right now, there's not that much sun, but the batteries are already at 13.1. You know, okay. So now, what am I running? Oh, I'll get to that later. Okay, let's go to the room system. I told you I have multiple systems. When you go to my bedroom, there's another system that I built, and this one has these two huge, heavy duty, and these are deep cycle batteries. These are 8D batteries. Okay, so with these 2D batteries, I have that on this charge controller. It's a 30 amp MPPT charge controller. I put a little fan on there just to keep it cool. And this system here is the one that is connected to the big solar panels that I had on the roof, the really big ones, the ones that were all in the extreme corners that I told you guys. I got them locally for 200 bucks, 100 bucks a piece. So that's what charges this system. And this system runs on this inverter, 750 watts. So what this system really mainly does is run a little Alpico freezer that I have, and it runs my fan all night, and when my wife does her hair, because she uses a lot of flat iron, and she usually does that like once a week. So when she does a flat iron, she just hooks up her hair, flat iron thing, and she uses this system and off of the sun, and systems that appliances that draw heat, are pretty hefty, and yet this keeps up with her and her hair, process. Now, this one right here is a little microsystem that I built. Now, this little microsystem has its own little inverter, and this one is used to charge phones. This has, you remember the little 20-watt panels that I showed you on the roof? That's what charges this one. Right there, if you notice, batteries are at 13.9. Right now, if I press this, it turns on this little inverter, turns off that light, and it activates that multi-plug right there, which I use. So it's just like a little microsystem, just to run some lights. And then there's this big spotlight in front of my house, which is controlled here. Plus, I have a little alarm system, which is hooked up to this. This is a small AGM motorcycle battery. This one runs like maybe 50 bucks, but I've had it for a while, man, and it's in pristine shape. And so that's what this little system is for. Okay, so all of those little systems, make up the entirety of the system. So this system here in the room, what does it run? I told you it runs my wife's flat iron, and it runs this Alpicool 12-volt fridge. Okay, so that's a 12-volt fridge. The main system, okay, the main system, which is this one, runs the entire house. All right, runs the entire house, and it runs my deep freezer. Okay, runs my deep freezer. Now, the deep freezer, I do not leave 24 hours a day because there's no need. I learned this from a prepper, that you can actually turn the freezer off at night. So that's what we do. We turn the freezer off at night, around 11 o'clock at night, and we turn it back on in the morning. And the ice does not, even the meats and everything doesn't thaw out or anything. So it's really convenient. So if we come over here this way, this is my recording studio, okay? And that system runs everything in my recording studio. I don't have things on right now. Okay, I put this here. This is okay, hold on. Let me put this over here. All right. This is my laptop. I put that lid. All right, hold on. There you go. That's my laptop. I put that lid because sometimes when it rains, there's like a little drop of rain that will seep through the concrete roof, and it happens to try to fall on top of my laptop. So I put that plastic thing on top of it at night in case. But that's the studio, right? And the studio itself has another backup system, which is this one. All right. Now, this system doesn't have a solar panel yet. Okay. Like right now, I could turn the entire studio on and it's running off of the main system. But at night, when I don't want to use the power from the main system, if I have to come into the studio for some reason, instead of turning on those big inverters just for something practical, I'll disconnect it from here and I'll plug it in I'll plug it in up here and I'll turn on this inverter. And this inverter and this battery by itself runs the entire studio for good 2-3 hours. Okay. Sometimes I don't try to push it, but just that deep cycle battery alone does that. And right now, if you notice, this battery charger is charging this battery because I have to get a solar panel for this one. But in the meantime, I'm just charging it straight off of the house system, which is the same thing. Okay, so that's the studio system. All right, let's go back here to the back room. All right, let's go to the back room. This is my back room where I have all of my stuff, my lights production for my production work, and tools that I have and stuff. My meters for my, everything I do. Right here, this is another battery. Now this one right here is just a little lawn and garden battery. Okay, it's a little $30, I think like 30-40 bucks that I got at Advance Auto Parts. And basically this has a little solar panel on the roof, but it is also charging off of the main system. So, every day, everything gets charged up, using the main system. Basically, I don't know if you noticed when I walked in the room, the light automatically turned on. It's because I have this little sensor on there. So basically, the moment I walk into this room, automatically this light turns on. All right. So right there, look, it jumped to 14.3. That tells me the sun probably just came out behind the clouds and, spike of power. This is just like a little 1 amp charger, just to help it out while it's charging. So this is my tool, like my tool system. I have a couple of extra, I have my tools, replacement parts. This is a, cheap old charge controller. I had like maybe a few of those around. This is a little inverter, 140 watts, which is kind of similar to what I did in the bedroom, So if I need an inverter in here for some reason, that's kind of like a redundancy. All right. Like I said, tools are important. Materials are important to have when you're off grid. This right here is an element to heat up, some water. So if you need to make some coffee and all you have is a 12-volt battery, then you can hook this up and put it in the water, and you got a water heater right there, for smaller stuff. So that's basically the system. That's basically how I've done everything off grid. Right there, here's the studio. All right. If I were on, all right. So let's say I'm gonna be doing some recording. All right. I turn on the laptop, and I turn on the monitor slash TV, and then I come over here and I turn on an additional light, and so you can see how everything just starts to boot up. You see, and right there. All right, the laptop's coming on. My surveillance cameras are on. Okay, the TV is waiting for the computer to boot up so I can start, filming. I mean, not filming, so I can start doing my recording work. So there it is. It's all synchronized. All right, so it should turn on in a few seconds, and then a picture of a piano comes out. All right. There it is. Okay. So that's on. Now, when this is on, everything is on, The pianos, if you notice, the lights on the pianos are on. Okay. This little other keyboard that I have here. There you go. Lights are on. Everything in this house is solar. I am not connected to the electric company at all. Okay. I have no need for them. Okay. Let me turn this off because I'm not using the studio and I'm still recharging batteries because it's early. All right, so let me just turn the computer off. Hold on. All right. Let me turn this off. The console, this one, I try to use it on a as needed basis, because the console draws a lot of power. Basically, it's a 400 watt. So right there, that's the power supply, and you see how the lights, turned on, and the console is on. But it does draw a lot of power. You know what I mean? So yeah, see, I don't know if you saw the lights flicker a little bit when it turned on. So yeah, this draws a lot of power. So when I'm using this, I try to do it, the whatever work I'm gonna be doing, I do it during the day. But most of the time, if I'm not doing a big project, I really don't need it. I just hook it up and I run everything straight to the interface, and so it saves a lot of power that way. But like I said, guys, I run my entire house off grid. Everything functions. The only thing that I say that I don't run is air conditioning, because now that running air conditioner is kind of like a power hog. And in the future, when I'm able to, I probably will do that, and I'll try to buy like the maybe lithium batteries, to do that. Um, but overall, that's how I do it, guys. I live off grid. I live off grid in an urban city area. You know, um, I like proving stuff to everybody, because many times people don't. Oh, hold on, let me come over here. People don't believe what I'm doing, but I'm gonna come outside and I'm gonna show you. All right. Even my little Santa Claus. You see my Christmas Santa Claus? Yeah, that's an inflatable. That's all running on solar. All right. Now I'm gonna come outside. I want to show you. All right. If you look right there, you see how the line is disconnected. That shows to you. I am not with the energy company. You see that? My line's right there. Wait, hold on. Let me put my finger right there. You see how it's broken on this side and broken on the other one? That means that I am not with the energy company. You know. So I wanted to show that to my friends. It can be done, guys. It can be done. So with the exception of the air conditioner, right? Um, with the exception of that, we live totally normal, totally off grid. All right, totally off grid. Let me come over here for a second, and if I show you, this room is dark right now. There's my modem. It's on 24/7. Not affected by power outages. It's not affected at all. And that's basically it. I mean, it's really, like I said, it's really doable. It's really doable. You can live off grid. You can do it. So, I mean, what else do I have to say? You guys get any comments, any questions? Feel free, to tell me how it's done. Overall, the cost. Okay. Overall, if I were to factor everything, including the two little generators, including everything, over a span of a couple of years, I've spent about 6 grand. Okay, about. Um, Maybe just a little bit more, because I've replaced about three of the batteries, that with time they've gone bad, so I've replaced them. So overall, about, I would say, about 6 grand. Now, if you were to buy a system, okay, if you let me come over here. Hold on for a second. Come over here. My wife is cleaning up, and I'm probably getting in her way here. All right, let me come here in the studio. What the hell? The hell did I just step on? The heck is this candy? Something sticky I stepped on. The heck was that? I'll throw it back there somewhere. All right. Um, if I were to factor everything, well, I've spent about maybe 6 grand on everything uh, so far, which isn't a lot. It isn't a lot. If I were to have had a pro company come out and build a system for me of this level, of this size, we would have been talking easily upwards of $10,000 to $12,000. But since I did it myself over a span of years, you know, um, I basically pulled it off that way. Now, aesthetically, aesthetically, it is not the most pleasing to look at the way I did it. The house where I live in, this is uh, basically like my grandparents, and it's basically like a family inheritance. It's an old house, and we're still working on it. There are many things that we're doing to fix the house and to put it into good conditions. But due to the pandemic and due to Hurricane Maria and all the other stuff that has happened, things have been a little slow in making the house look pretty, and fixing certain things like in certain areas of the roof we have to fix and whatnot. Um, and all that takes money. So when I built the solar system, I figured, look, I'm focused more on it working. I'm focused more on the practicality of it, and then after, when things start getting better economically, then we could start dealing with the aesthetics part. But right now, my focus for the last couple of years has been just the functionality of it, because if I don't have power, how am I supposed to run any power tools? How am I supposed to do any repairs? You need a fan when you're doing a house work and fixing stuff. You need a fan because it's hot as hell here in Puerto Rico. um and I make money here in the studio, so it's like, in order to generate money, I gotta work. You know what I'm saying? So I need power to work. I need internet to work. I need to have a freezer or a fridge so I can eat. So my wife and my wife is very understanding, and we put everything. We're worried about functionality. The hell with appearances at the moment. And the functionality now. Once things start getting better economically, then we're gonna basically full focus on the aesthetics of things. The battery bank, I am gonna move it. I'm gonna build a, its own box with its own nice little ventilation system. With its own locks, so nobody comes in the middle of the night and steals my battery. Stuff like that. We're gonna be doing all of this, but this is mainly, this is my tour. This is how we live off grid. Off grid with water. Off grid, we live 100% on rainwater. You know, um, we're healthy. We drink the water. We cook. We clean. We never run out of water. It always rains. God always supplies good rain. Um, the sun comes out pretty stable here in Puerto Rico. We're practically sunny almost every day. So occasionally there are cloudy days, which are a little bit of a pain in the butt for my batteries. But what I do on those days is I turn the generator on, and for about 2 to 3 hours max. And in relatively that amount of time, and adding on to the available sunlight, we get a full charge, from our battery bank. So I mean, honestly, there's really, other than an air conditioner, we really don't do without. Honestly, we don't do without. We have everything. We use computer. We watch TV. We use fans. We have internet. We have freezers. We have a little fridge. We have, um, you know, and then so the water heater thing that I had on the roof, that big black trash can thing. Basically, what I do is we fill that up, um, basically at outside at the hose, and I fill that up. Now, in general, here in Puerto Rico, it's hot. So generally, when you're gonna take a shower here, it's hot. So you don't mind the water being cool, right? So you take a nice cool shower. But there are days that do get kind of cold. So the water that is on the roof on the in the black trash can, it's already filtered and everything. Once it goes up to the roof, it basically just stays there. The sun during the day heats the water up, and at night, there's been times that I end up going to take a shower before I go to bed around 11 o'clock at night, and if it's a little chilly, and when I open up the water faucet from the water tank on the roof, the hot water tank, let's call it that way, that water's really nice and warm, really nice and warm, and it doesn't even have solar panels on it. It's just all it is just a black trash can, with a lid in the sun, and that's about, I think, like maybe 55-gallon trash can, and it warms up the water really really nicely. Now in the future, I am planning on actually buying a dedicated water heater with its own gas tank, because sometimes, especially now with that you have flu season and COVID's going around and whatnot, if you get sick, it's nothing better than taking a nice hot shower to revive you. So even though the hot water trash can thing I have on the roof works good for regular showering, but there are times that you really want like really hot water, for whatever. So we are gonna be installing that like pretty soon. Hope I'm waiting for a couple of customers that I have, and we're gonna be doing that really soon. So, this is a work in progress, guys, and from here in a couple of years, hopefully, when I do this video, everything will be, will work the same, but look a lot aesthetically more pleasing, better prepared. The hoses I'm going to replace with PVC pipes, you know what I mean, and do a really nice clean install so that everything looks, perfect. But right now, if a hurricane comes, if a catastrophe comes, my wife and I, in terms of electric and water, we're taken care of. I mean, really, really solidly, you know. Um, you know, there's a little upkeep. You gotta the batteries. You gotta check the water levels monthly, which I do religiously. Make sure they get a good charge every day. A full charge so they won't sulfate. The water, make sure you add a little bit of chlorine. You make sure you turn on the UV lamps to disinfect the water. Make sure that the filters are clean and put new filters in. But these are like really minimal things that you can just do. You know what I mean? It would take you, I don't know, maybe a month, an hour of your time, or maybe even less to change the water filters. I mean, it's not a big deal. So that's pretty much it. Um, the only aspect of living off grid, which we have not tackled yet, is the whole food aspect. I did plant those plantain trees in the backyard with the purpose of having plantains. So it is like my meager attempt at that. I have a shed in the backyard which is not being used. It just has a whole bunch of junk in there, and I'm planning to clean that out, throw away all the stuff, and do like a little chicken coop. I would like to have a couple of chickens. I won't kill them. The problem is that I like animals, and even if I raise a chicken, then I'll become friends with the chicken, and I won't kill the chicken. So the whole purpose of me having chickens is for the eggs. Or I can eat some eggs. So if you're an animal lover, you're gonna be happy knowing that no matter what happens, I'm not gonna kill the chickens. To me, I would see them as pets, and that's the thing. My only concern is I have a lot of cats running around. My cats are nice, and I would like introduce the chickens to my cats, and they wouldn't do nothing to them. But but other stray cats would, like if I have little chicks or something. So I'll figure something out. But that's little by little. Um, I'm planning on like planting some potatoes and not a lot of food, but just stuff you could survive on. Because right now with this pandemic, there, especially us conservatives, like people like me, we don't believe in this vaccine, these mandates are scary because it's like at any moment the government can say, "Oh, you can't walk into a supermarket." It's like, what are we supposed to do? So I look at this as a basically as a warning from God, telling us get prepared because things are gonna get ugly. Things are gonna get ugly. So in terms of in terms of water and electric, I think we're pretty ahead of the curve. In terms of food, well, we got to figure that out. I live close to the beach, so fishing is an option. Very I live very close to the beach. And when I say beach, I'm talking open ocean. So I could go fishing and bring something home in the case of a catastrophe. You know, um, so we just got to figure all these things out. In terms of health, neither does my wife and I. Thank God, we don't take any medication of anything. So, me personally, I need to start getting in shape as a prepping measure. Getting in shape, losing weight. That's gonna be a little bit, you know. I mean, I'll do it, but I gotta get on track with that because that's a really important part of prepping is being in shape, not getting tired if you have to run. Not my wife. My wife, she does exercise every single day, but me, I'm lacking in that aspect. So let's see what happens, guys. Little by little, like I said, this is a work in progress. I hope you liked this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything about this whole prepping and off-grid lifestyle that you would like to learn for yourself, or that you would like to implement for yourself, and you have a doubt of anything that you saw, feel free write to me because that's the purpose of the channel. A lot of people, they hear me talk about God, they hear me talk about other things, but the whole purpose is to empower people, to live their life. God has given us, rain. God has given us the sun. And if we can use those things to our benefit, if like right now, I'm not a rich person. I don't have a lot of income, but I don't pay rent. I don't pay electric. I don't pay water. So what people pay out from their work is what I save. You know what I mean? So it kind of balances out. So at the end of the day, anything that I earn goes towards food and the things that I need. And if you want to make money, if you want to save money, and you build a solar system, let's say you have a $200 electric bill every month. That's $200 you can save every single month. You know what I'm saying? You could save it for other things that you want. Like if you save 200 a month and you don't have to pay electric, man, you could take a vacation every year if you want. You could travel with the money you save. Now, do you have to make a little bit of investment in the beginning and buy your solar stuff? Yeah, you do. I mean, nothing, and you gotta do stuff. But you can start like me. Start your solar system off small. And at the same time, you'll learn how to build it. You don't have to go off grid. You can stay on grid. Just build your system. And if someday the grid goes down for some reason, yeah, you have a backup system. Really good. Totally independent from your solar. I mean, from your energy company. Anyway, guys, I hope you like this video. Ruben Obed. If you like these videos and you wish to make a little donation, my PayPal link is in the description below. A lot of this stuff that I've been able to do by the grace of God has also been because of the support of my supporters and followers. So I appreciate your support and your help, and you know that's what we're here for, guys. We're here to help each other like brothers and sisters in Christ. So God bless you all. Peace and have a great day.